This is Matt and Duke with another segment on positive media and personal holiday reflection, with a sprinkle of cynicism as not to get too mushy. So I was going out to the mall, mask and all, planning on shopping at the Gap with a gap between me, Janie, and Jean, and everyone in between. As I arrive and begin to wander through the modern market of trendiness, I notice some unmasked, exposed mouths. Avoiding getting hyper in a verbal vent, I wonder, who is that unmasked villain? Is this a matter of inalienable rights or physical constitution? So I keep strolling past the Coach store, giving myself a pep talk in light of hopes of a cure per cure and the imminent amnesia of the new partying atmosphere of the new year. So I skip on down to the food court, thinking to myself, maybe we can squeeze some reform and positivity out of this pandemic. Maybe that I won't be so packed in like sardines at my favorite eatery, and they'll have a little better deal on the meal.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Duke here with a movie called A Long Way Off. Abraham Farms is the best food source that people depend on because of noble reputation this company has. A man named Abraham, who's the father of two sons, Seth and Jake. In the beginning part of the movie, Seth looks for Jake because of a problem he caused. Jake came home from partying way too hard. He did something his dad told him not to do. Then they had a discussion. Afterwards, his dad let his son leave with his inheritance. Jake forgot his purpose, so he left his home to find it. As he goes out to find purpose, driving down the road, the radio in the car sang warnings, but he doesn't listen. When at the city, he parties hard, but he meets a girl who gets him in trouble. He flaunts his money and gets broke and finds all he's looking for when he's home, when he's with tears in his eyes hugging his dad. Now, the one thing about the movie is that Jake, he didn't listen to anything that nobody said, and he had a bad attitude, and he was worse off. But when he went to go find his purpose, because he figured that he wasn't getting his purpose when he was at the farm, so that's why he had to go and find it, since he forgot his purpose. But when he came back home to his dad and to his family, he knew that all his purposes were met. When it sunk in, when he was getting in trouble, when God had to give him those messages, and when things were starting to sink in. So another thing I'm going to read is something I wrote about Thanksgiving. To me, okay, this event means to me that I give thanks to God for life, that what I have to start out with is fine with me. I'm grateful for making progress in goals. Also, whatever comes my way, I'll be ready. On the other hand, I'll make the best of any event life may bring. Satisfied when it's over, not letting pride and envy get to our heads. Humbling oneself to realize heartfelt decisions of what you're thankful for. It doesn't matter how many places you go with friends, family, loved ones, associates, gatherings for Thanksgiving, because it's important you know why you're going to all these places and what makes you thankful for going in that matter. And another thing is moving music. Another song that moved me was the song by James Taylor, Shower the People. The words go like this: shower the people with love you love, show them the way you feel, things are going to be just fine or much better. If you want, it will. When I hear more words saying you can play the game or you can act all in part, but you know it wasn't written for you. Take much to do if you sell your pride. What you plan to do with your foolish pride when you're all by yourself alone. Oh, father and mother, sister and brother, if it feels nice, don't you think twice. I think it's true what they say about those squeaky wheels always getting the grease. Make it rain. Love, 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 sunshine. Other words, we know if we want to express love in different ways, simply that feels nice inside of you because you shown in a neighborly way. Also, other people will know on the other side, on the outside, because when this love you've shown or showered was genuine, without foolish pride, because nobody wants to be with you and nobody wants to have nothing to do with you if you're always prideful in trying to show love like you have to compete with somebody when it's not that way. And James Taylor also says, one thing can lead to another, but it doesn't take any sacrifice. What he means is, it doesn't take any sacrifice to simply show love in a neighborly way and get everything that is nice in a good way, not the opposite way, but showing and showering and letting love sunshine from the inside of you going outward as you show it. So another thing that I want to say in this podcast is that I had a discovery about Common Sense CDC and this stuff called Microban 24. So here's the thing. When I was waiting to get food from a pantry, a lot of people were 6 feet apart and they were waiting as well as I was. They was wearing their face mask and I wasn't. But the thing was, nobody was gonna hack on me and I wasn't gonna hack on them, which was be me and coughing, you know. So that's what I mean by Common Sense CDC. Also, making sure that you're 6 feet apart and you are following the guidelines, but also using your common sense, like, for instance, knowing when to take your face mask off to breathe, and knowing when to wash your hands, and do some of the simple things that make up Common Sense CDC, when other people want to make things complicated. Like I hear about the governor and things about the schools and other things in the news, and I'm thinking to myself, man, there has to be another way to use our tools to simplify and use our common sense to make things better. Now, the thing about Microban is it was made with chlorine benzoate and some other ingredients, and those other ingredients make up the ppm, which is parts per million, and what that does is it kills microorganisms that we touch and put on surfaces that build up in germs, and it has a 24-hour protection that will stop that from building up, because it's a non-restricted item. That means it could be used around animals, pets, and so on and so forth. It's not a restricted item, which is the pesticides and stuff that you can't use that kills people, because Microban has been safety tested good for about 35 years in the making, and the original ingredient was made in 1962, which is a very good space, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, with safety and what the government approves as a ingredient to success when it comes to this COVID stuff, because that's the hope that Microban gives, and it's a force to be reckoned with, because those ppms kill the microorganisms that build up the germs. And since that's the case and it shields everything, I think honestly that we should switch to Microban 24 multi-purpose spray and use the cleaning products and teach the kids common sense CDC with the teachers and spray on the cafeteria tables and the lockers. Even with teens, make them some gloves, because if you do that, then the schools would be open, and make sure that you make your own research. You look this up on a computer. I looked it up myself and looked everything else up and thoroughly, and have what I have to say about these things, because if we use common sense CDC, all of the schools that has to postpone or is being forced will be back open again. Or if they are open, they won't have to worry about anything else. See, because everybody has to work together to make things better and to make things happen. Let's put our heads together and let's get this done. Follow common sense CDC and don't make things complicated. Alright, Matt, I know they're waiting on you and you have some things to say about this too. So, Matt, how about you give everybody who's listening something that they can take hold of as well, because I know you got some things to say. And make sure you like and share this with other people who you think that they might be interested in liking and commenting. Okay, well, let's hear it, Matt. And thank you guys so much.
Thanks, Duke. I enjoyed your smooth, soulful take on things. It is interesting about the Microban 24 cleaning product line you were mentioning, which I understand is a fairly reasonable priced product line by Procter & Gamble, who I bet are banking on their claims of a day-lasting bacteria barrier. I'm all for innovation of the safe scourer. So as we try to clean up the hot mess of 2020, let us have a tunnel vision towards the light of truth, health, and wealth. If we can't gather as comfortably this Christmas, let us at least gather renewed faith and composure. It is a time of dawning of human brilliance and hope by the one whose name graces the literal label of the holiday. Let us recycle and rebirth as a society, world, and nation, taking new strong roots in dignity and God-guided ingenuity.